I don't want Justin to get copyright, but I had to play that. We're here with.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I mean, okay, here's the thing. So we're here today, WWE Punk Fan 19, in Zach We Trust. Zach, how's it going?
In Punk We Trust. Isn't that
In
a name at
Punk,
one point?
it was in Zach We Trust.
Oh, okay, my bad.
You
Yeah,
guys,
I ran with that, and then like they made a shirt like 2 months later with the "In Punk We Trust." I was like, all right, thanks for stealing my gimmick. Even though I stole it from Roddy because at the time he was doing like "In Roderick I Trust,"
hmm
so I stole that from him. But I still take credit for Punk doing it. But yeah, I totally forgot I even did that. To be perfectly honest, the Daniel Bryan thing. I
dude,
popped inside a lot for to hear that.
it's one of those things where like I don't even like what was that 2012? I think you made that, maybe even 2011.
Yeah,
Um,
around that time.
and I still, when I hear Daniel Bryan's theme, I still think of Daniel Bryan. Like I still think of that to this day. So it's like, you probably just were like, oh, it's just like this dumb little thing. I'm gonna sing to Daniel Bryan's theme, but like I still think about it like
8 years later, it
8 years
lives on.
later.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
still don't. I don't even remember why I even came up with that or the reasoning behind it, but apparently it stuck, and I don't know. Like it just came out of nowhere. Same thing with the whole dashing grooming tips video I did.
Oh
The
yeah,
Cody Rhodes.
I remember that. Man,
People wanted more. I told them I'd do another one, but I never did.
yeah, I remember those. Those were like back in the day when you can do like skit videos and people would appreciate them. And now it's like, now you upload a skit and it's like, no, we want the wrestling. And like, I feel like you are one of like, in my opinion, you're like one of the last people who still do reviews of shows that actually get like a lot of people like viewing them.
Honestly, at this point, I just do it purely out of habit. Like, I don't think I really upload that much besides that nowadays.
hmm
And I just do it just because I got nothing else going on. I watch the show. I'm like, why not discuss it? And I don't
hmm
know, because mainly because we don't have these Skype calls anymore. It's another outlet for me to talk wrestling, and that's kind of why I still keep doing it. But yeah, I've told myself to stop doing it, or I plan on stop doing it several times over the last few years. I actually, when I graduated high school back in 2014, I was actually planning on stopping YouTube back then, but I didn't stick with it. For some reason, I kept going, and I'm still going this day. But I'm pretty sure within the next year or so, I'll probably wrap it up. To be perfectly honest.
Wow.
So you've been doing videos for like 10 years now?
Yeah, so on my old account, which is like a real throwback, which was called WWE Collections, that's what started me talking wrestling, back in 2008, I think, towards the end of it, I think it was, like December 2008. I made that account, and I think my first video I made was that Edge box set that came out with like the beanie and stuff. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was like a Ultimate Fan Edition of that Edge DVD. And
Okay.
I made an unboxing of that because I watched Jem make videos, and that inspired me to want to make
So
DVD
was Jem
videos.
the first person you ever saw?
Oh yeah, in terms of like making wrestling related videos, absolutely. Just because at the time I started buying DVDs mainly because I didn't order the pay-per-view, so that'd be my way of watching them would be to buy the DVDs when they came out. So I kind of realized I had a small little collection growing. So I was like, let's see if anyone else is making videos. And I think at that time that SummerSlam anthology came out, and Jen made a video on that cooler set. And ever since I saw him make that video, I was like, okay, that's something I wanted to do. And I didn't make videos till months later, but eventually I did, and just took off since.
So you're bored one day, you just go on YouTube, you search up what WWE collection or some WWE DVDs, and you're like, what the hell? People make videos on this?
Yeah, because like none of my friends at the time were collecting, or I mean, they watched wrestling, but they weren't collecting the DVDs or anything. I was like, I don't know, I was having fun just buying them, so I was like, let's see if anyone else is kind of having the same fun I'm having, and I just randomly put in WWE DVD, and a bunch of Gems videos came up at the time. He was like the only person really doing that, so yeah, I started watching him, and then like I said, just eventually made my own videos.
So how did you meet, like talk to Breach, Miguel, like the clique, I guess? All those guys, Luke.
So it's funny with Miguel. Obviously, I discovered him as many people did with the cream video, which is
Yes.
funny because one of my friends actually showed me that video of him. So I found him out through one of my actual real friends at the time, or not my well, like in my person friends at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I watched his videos for years, and randomly one day, like 2 years later, it's like 2010, he just commented on one of my videos randomly, and I just replied to him, and then this one day he invited me in a call, and I joined their call. I think it was him, Steve, Jem, and I believe someone else. I forgot who it was, but they had a call, and I joined it. I didn't really say much. I kind of just sat there, and I
I
remember
feel
the
like that's
call.
everyone's first time in a call. They just like kind of like just take it in.
Yeah, especially like when you're trying to adjust because like everyone's already been talking to each other, so they all kind of know each other, and you're like you're the new kid there, you know. So you're kind of like, all right, how do I kind of act around these people, and you know what kind of people are these people as well.
Yeah.
So it's something
So
brand new.
so as a myself being a young, YWC person in 2011, seeing this video from someone where he gets a bunch of DVDs, jumps out of his window, and walks down the street to drop them off to Stevie Breach, big YouTuber Stevie Breach at the time. When did you find out that you live so close to Breach?
I think Miguel plugged one of his videos, and I just went on his channel, and I think it was around 4th of July time, because one of his recent videos was the 4th of July like kind of parade we have here. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, that's literally like down the street from me, where they have that. And then we started talking, and then obviously I was in a call with him one day, and we kind of just talked from there, and we kind of realized like, wow, we literally live like 5 minutes from each other. So.
That's pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
it's kind of crazy how that works out.
Yeah, I mean, especially being like, you know, it's not like you, well, you found each other through YouTube, and there's probably like a point where you just like passed each other and didn't even know,
I've
you know?
wondered that several times. Like, I wonder if they've ever, walked by him at a store or something, or maybe at a wrestling aisle at like, FYE or something, just kind of
Yeah.
like in the same aisle, but didn't obviously pay attention to each other. I've always wondered that. I'm pretty sure it's probably happened, honestly.
Zach's like, why this old man looking at me, dude?
Right? Staring at me all weird. Oh man, don't. The story of Gemini taking a picture at me at the Bash '09. Talk about weird times.
What?
Wait, what?
So,
Wait, what?
no, so okay. Jem was going to the bash, which was here in Sacramento, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going." But at the time, I'm 13, and Jem's however old he was at the time, like 30 or whatever it was. So that would have looked weird. Uh, and then, I never approached him or anything, but I did see him in a distance, and I guess he saw me because he took a picture of me from behind. And I don't think he posted it or anything, but he randomly had it because he showed me in one of the Skype calls once, like years later. I was like, what the fuck?
You just
He's
have
like,
to.
yeah. He's like, I would have said. He's like, yeah, I would have said hi to you, but you're with your brother, and I didn't want your brother to kick my ass. I was like, yeah. I mean, I get your point of view. That would
Sounds.
look odd. Well, yeah, like imagine like a 30-year-old man walking up to like a 13-year-old like at a wrestling show,
Yeah,
like, hey man, like I know
I know
you.
you. Yeah, that's
Especially
like
like for my
normal
brother's,
now.
yeah, especially from my brother's, point of view, like what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, like, you're like, we're pretty much like the same age, and our age group of people are kind of like, the younger in our group of friends that I could think of. But you were like, in some aspects, you kind of like went straight to the main roster from the indie scene. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I remember you being a part of the group, and I just assumed that you were like, oh, like, you're just the same age as them. I didn't realize that you were pretty much like, like my age. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it just sucks because the only thing that prevented me from like, you know, showing that I was talking to them or hanging out with them is because I couldn't go on all those trips they were able to go on. Obviously, because I was underage and I couldn't afford to go on my own trip at the time. And you
Except
know,
Elimination Chamber 2011.
oh yeah, where Steve kidnapped me, but
Steve kidnapped you.
no, 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 no. There was a misunderstanding, and he tries to make it seem like my mom blew his phone up, like demanding know where I was at. There was just a miscommunication, and she was just wondering, like, oh, do you know where he was at? Because I think something happened with my phone. I forgot what happened with my phone at the time. Either it was taken away or something happened with it. I just didn't have it, so I didn't have my phone at all at the show, which is why she was contacting him. And he was blowing it up, making it seem like I was, my parents were gonna kill him for me, which that was never the case. But
Hmm.
yeah, it was pretty funny. I just remember Steve just appearing next to me in the middle of the show, like telling me like, "Oh, well, your mom's looking for you." I'm like, "Okay." Kind of brushed it off, like, "I'll call her after. It'll be fine." And it ended up being fine.
Was it
That
weird the first time you like hung out with everybody?
With Steve, yeah, and then I met Luke for the first time, and I only started talking to Luke regularly probably like a month before. Like we weren't in many calls before that because at the time I was probably in a call maybe once a month, if that, just because of school and just I was just hanging out and doing other things.
mhm.
So I wasn't very many calls probably until like 2012 was where I started being in them a lot more. But yeah, I met Luke and Steve. That was like the second or third time meeting him. I mean, that was like the first time I legit hung out with him, but like the second or third time meeting him.
That
But yeah,
one.
it was a little nerve-wracking. Not to cut you off, Mike,
No, it's
but
okay.
it was a little nerve-wracking because at the time, yeah, I'm 15 years old and I'm going out of the city, which I mean, it's only 2 hours away, but I was going out of the city, with these two older men that I don't really, know that well. So
Yeah.
It's
it
like
was
19, reaches
oh
like 50.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what?
So on paper, none of this looked good at all. None of it did, but
You're in his
and
pickup truck that doesn't work.
oh yeah, and Steve left us, stranded in the drive-through where he would go shit his brains out in the inside. And Luke didn't know how to operate the car, which because Steve didn't tell him it was he put the
The
emergency.
break.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't tell him that. So we
See,
were like freaking out there, wondering what the hell is happening.
that's one of those things where it's like Elimination Chamber 2011, those videos, that trip, that to me, like it gets forgotten by people. When it comes to like, oh, WrestleMania 27 videos were so great. But honestly, to me, Elimination Chamber 2011, that's technically the first like wrestling trip like group videos. You know what I mean? Like day in the life videos. Because if you look back, like, you know, WrestleMania 27 obviously is after Elimination Chamber, but like that was, there was nothing really
It's
before
it's the
Elimination
prelude.
Chamber.
It's the
Yeah.
prelude, and it's a quick video. I think it was like 15 minutes. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, it was
For the
around there. It was just, for
yeah,
the day. So it was, just yeah, a day in a life video.
So I mean that was like, that was like one of those like people go back and watch like all the WrestleMania trips, but I mean I add Elimination Chamber 2011 to that list of rewatching every, few years because that was like the first one and, you know, like you said, getting stuck in the what's it called, the In-N-Out burger, and then like Breach having to pay $35 for parking. Like
Oh,
it's the
his
little things.
reaction. His reaction will
15,000
never leave my
views
mind.
for that day in the life video. It just says day in the life with Stevie Breach, Luke Cage, WWE Punk fan,
It was a
Yeah.
thumbnail. There you go.
and you're in the thumbnail. Look at that, drawing
Exactly.
views.
Exactly. You're welcome, Steve.
So moving
It's my
forward to
chat.
trips, like you didn't obviously get a chance to go to any of the manias like that they went on, except for the one that I was at for my first mania. It was also your first mania, WrestleMania 31. Like finally, after all those years of watching them, like you finally get to go on like a mania trip.
Oh man, yeah, and it was well worth it because originally I was planning on going to 30 the year prior,
Mhm.
but just things didn't line up. Whether it's schooling or just finances, it didn't line up, so I wasn't able to go. But I'm actually glad it worked out the way it did because my first mania was in my home state. It was only 2 hours from where I live, and it's one of the best manias of all time, if you ask me. It was fantastic.
Many people are saying it's the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
I
So
wouldn't argue it. I
yeah.
would not argue it at all. But I thought it was for my first WrestleMania. I honestly could not ask for a better experience. I mean, obviously there were some moments where it wasn't the funnest, but overall I'd say it was a fantastic trip. I had a lot of fun, especially after just being back at the hotel where Steve's trying to spear you, but going
Oh,
straight into the
dude.
ground.
I still like he tried to get revenge for that years later at Revolution earlier this year, where I was like walking outside when we were having like him and Ravi were having their match in my front lawn, and
Mhm.
like I could see that he was like aiming at me, and I was like, you ain't getting revenge for this, and he tried to like spear me, and I just kind of like pushed him away, and but like that's one of those things where I'm glad that you and Luke also saw it because I have this image of walking out of the bathroom and hear breaches like falling in front of me. Like it'll never go away. You
Well,
know?
the best part is like I didn't know what was going on. All I saw was Steve just going right into the ground. Like I didn't see him going after you or anything. I just saw him face plant, and I'm like, I don't know what he was doing, but I just know he ate shit, and it was great. And oh
Dude,
man, that whole night was so much fun. RVD running up the stairs trying to kill us. What a
and
time.
I left right before RVD. I get into the rental car and we're like, 2 minutes away, and I'm seeing on Twitter from all you guys RVD, RVD, and I'm like, I missed RVD. Like,
Oh yeah, it
um,
was crazy. I just remember hearing someone running. I'm like, who's running up here? And all of a sudden, just RVD. I'm like, he's charging us.
we're gonna do a jump off the top thing, but
Oh
there's
yeah, I
two
was
moments that
telling
I
you.
wish we recorded. One being breached with the spear, and the other one being me, you, Luke. I feel like you know where I'm going with this. The
Oh,
McDonald's guy.
McDonald's. Yep, that
This guy
guy.
will live
I
on forever.
listen. It took me an hour to eat my food because that guy would not stop making me laugh, so I couldn't
Oh,
eat. I don't know what he was rambling on. He was talking about chasing geese, talking about getting fights, his bike getting stolen. I don't know what
he
he was
almost getting
on.
he almost got stabbed at the Jack in the Box that we were gonna go
Yeah,
to.
and he was like, "Oh, I've only been here for like 2 months, and all this has
Yeah,
happened to me." I'm like, "What?"
San Jose. I remember like it got to a point. I feel like it felt like an hour, but it was probably 10 minutes. And I was done. Luke was done. I turned to you, and you've got a full burger, and I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna die. Like this is it. This is it. Like because when that guy walked in with his bike. Okay, when he walked in with his bike, I knew this guy was weird from the beginning. So the fact that he sat down and like he was started to talk to us, I was like, oh boy, this is not good. Not good today. Like, my parents like, told me like about these kinds of people. Like this is not good. So like that was an all-time moment that I wish I recorded like a full sit-down interview with this guy at this point. Like I need to go back to San Jose, go back to that McDonald's just to find this crazy McDonald's guy that I don't even remember what he looks like.
Oh, he's probably dead by now. Like based off the experiences he's been having in that city, he's probably long gone. But I don't even know if he even ordered anything. He was just hanging out. He was just
Yeah.
there.
He was
Uh,
just a guy in San Jose trying to, figure out life, I guess. But so here's the question for that trip. I mean, everybody has seen the videos, and I remember, um, like between you, Ryan from the Boston Brothers, and Ravi, you guys just destroying a fireball. Like I feel like you guys were filling up the cup of the WrestleMania cups and drinking it like it was like juice. So my question to you is, how was the headache the next morning?
Um, I don't really remember having a headache. I just remember waking up real late because I think all of you went to like Santa Cruz or something or the
Oh yeah,
boardwalk.
yeah, okay.
I don't remember what time I woke up. I just remember getting ready, and I was like, before I knew it, it was like time to get ready to go to Raw. So I don't
Oh,
really have much memory. Oh, you know what happened? I woke up, I took a shower, and then I made my WrestleMania review. That's what I did.
oh,
And then I think I
there
got
you
ready
go.
for Raw or whatever. But yeah, that was my
I
very
mean,
eventful Monday morning.
you were trying to jump through tables. You were trying to spear Luke, trying to do some like RKO's. Like it was I mean, that was like a crazy night. And like, shout out to Fireball, like for,
Oh, oh, absolutely. And I don't know if it was Miguel or Ravi. Someone posted like a clip on Instagram the other day where I was like doing the flare stuff where I threw my shirt in the ground, did like the knee drop. I totally forgot I even did that. But that was a lot of fun. I remember just me and Ravi going at it, almost getting put through a table. I'm surprised we didn't get kicked out, honestly. Like
oh yeah.
they did not care at all down there. They're like, whatever, let them kill each other.
No, honestly, the people were yelling below us, so I feel like they would have gotten yelled at first, and then we were like, upstairs, so they had to like climb the stairs to tell us to be quiet and stop hurting each other. But no, yeah, I that was one of those things where I look back at those videos and I'm just like in the corner, like trying to stay away from it all. Like if I can go back, I would like just be carefree for that whole time because that was like wild and crazy. But that was good, good times, good times.
Oh yeah, I love it. Like I think honestly, I probably think about that trip or at least the show, at least like once a week. Like I'll just like, cause
Oh,
I'll like see
definitely.
something in my room of it, and I'm like, man, that was such a good time.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
So
Yeah, that's awesome. What a trip.
so now going to 32, the first time I met Zach, and everyone claiming the worst WrestleMania trip of all time. Um, Ravi, me, Miguel, now clarifying that. So I go into the Boston Brothers room on Friday because we're all hanging out, me, Miguel, the Boston Brothers, and I see Zach sleeping on a little cot, I believe, half asleep.
Yeah.
I'm just recording. I'm like, hey, Zach, what are you doing? So I don't even remember you like saying you were going to WrestleMania 32. So how even that happened?
I was planning on going since 31 just because everyone was going. I was like, Texas is close by or somewhat close. I was like, why not go? So I went, but I didn't really do much. I only went to one access. I did NXT. I did Evolve Friday before NXT, the WrestleCon show, Mania, then Raw, and that was it. Like I didn't really do anything at all during that weekend. But yeah, I know this trip's been a huge topic as of late. I know Miguel has made a video about it too, and I know you guys have been doing podcasts on it. So, I mean, out of the ones I've been to, it's definitely the worst too. But I didn't have a terrible time. Like I didn't have any of the troubles you guys had at all getting into the show. Like I will say I was at least in the venue by the time the pre-show started. Like I was in line to get food.
There was you, Griff, and Ryan from the Boston Brothers. Were the only three people, I guess, that we know that got in during the pre-show.
It's funny because like I remember when we got in the building, hearing Lillian like, "Oh, the pre-show starts in 5 minutes," and like 20 minutes went by and nothing, and then like, "Oh, the pre-show starts in 5 minutes." I'm like, you said that 20 minutes ago. It was oh man, like I don't know how they managed to fuck all that up so much that day, but yeah, it. I don't care if they go back. I don't care to go back to that stadium at all.
So who'd you say with Boston Brothers?
So yeah, I stayed with the Boston Brothers on Thursday, and then I stayed with Luke and Ravi on Friday, and then I had a family come in that weekend, so I stayed with them Saturday till I left on Tuesday. So yeah,
So
I was
going
pretty much I was whoring around pretty much.
so we go fast forward 34. We're on Bourbon Street. All of a sudden, I hear Zach. I mean, you roll up with Miguel. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell's Zach doing here? I didn't even know you were here, dude. And then your mom's there. I'm like, what's happening right now? Like, what? Like, I'm like, what? Am I seeing things right now? It's like, how did that even happen? How did 34 happen?
Well, it's funny because like it's every year I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go and that's it. But they announce, somewhere and then I want to go. Like, I went to 33 in Orlando. I think Luke and I think like maybe I think the Lorenzos went with Griff. I think that's pretty much it in terms of what went to 33. Not many people went. But yeah, 34, I wanted to go strictly because everyone, off of all the hype from 30. So I was like, how can I not go when it's in New Orleans? So yeah, I just planned the trip and I pretty much did everything on my own for the most part. I met up occasionally with like, whoever, but I was pretty much solo for the most part on that trip until Bourbon Street, and that was what a time that was. Like, if I had to rank my favorite, like, moments of trips, it'd be post 31 at the hotel, and then post 30, or not post 34, post Raw 2018 and Bourbon. Those are definitely my two favorites. That was a lot of fun.
Like, I remember that night, everyone was there. It was like a party.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that
you were
was
there.
I
Miguel
remember.
was there. I was there. Griff was there. Ravi's there. Who else is there? I can't think right now. Why am I blanking? But everybody was there.
You got wrestlers roam down the streets. I remember I went to that place, the grenade place, and I was trying to get one. That's where I ran into Miguel. And I turned around, Xavier Woods just chilling, hanging out, and everyone's gathering. I'm like, what's going on? And then like just I forgot who else, but some other wrestlers are just roaming down the streets. I'm like, man, just everyone's just chilling, having a good time.
So, so Griff, that bar you go to, that's where we saw you. Griff and Xavier Woods, at that exact same time. Griff at that same bar is running in and out of the bar. He's going in, he's yelling, he's coming back, he's yelling. The bouncer is like, "Okay, dude, it's either you're in or out." And then he does it again, and then him and the bouncer start going at it. So he walks off. So I'm like, Griff, like, you got to calm down, dude. He's like, that fat fuck kicked me out of the bar. I'm like, Griff, you're a fat fuck. And then he's like, well, he's a fatter fat fuck. I'm like, oh god. Griff
Why was
was
he?
gone.
Why was he going in and out? Like,
Oh, I remember now. Okay, he's going in because he sees you and Miguel. He's like, hey guys, Zach's here. And then all of a sudden he's like, Xavier Woods is over here, guys. Xavier Woods, he's right there. I'm like, Griff, shut the fuck up. I don't think he wants to be his name be yelled out on Bourbon Street right now. And then he just keeps yelling. Like, he's yelling. He's going in and out of the bar. He doesn't know what he's doing, dude. He was lit up.
Oh man, Griff, what a character, man. What a character. He saved my ass though in New Orleans that Sunday because of the Steve Austin signing. He let me cut in front of him. It saved me probably at least like 3 hours in line. So huge shout out to Griff.
Good guy, Griff. Griff, always, wherever Griff goes, there always will be stories following him.
Oh yeah, like anytime. Like he's one of those people. It's just like you're guaranteed to get some kind of entertainment around him.
But yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, what? So why do everything solo? Just like you just want to do everything by yourself, just hang out? Because like I feel like I didn't see you till that Monday. Like if we didn't run into you at the bar, I feel like we wouldn't have seen you that whole trip.
Honestly, I think a lot of it just because I wasn't really invited to anything or like to do anything with anyone. At the time, Luke and I weren't really talking just because some shit went on. It was like, I mean, we're fine now and everything, but back then shit was going on, so there was miscommunication and we didn't really talk. So we weren't gonna go to 34 together, and I was gonna go, and for some reason, my dad really wanted to send my mom on vacation, and he's like, "Well, New Orleans is fun." He's like, "Well, why don't you take your mom with you?" And I'm like, "I mean, if you want to pay for her to go, I guess. I mean, I don't really mind." So that's what we ended up doing. So she ended up tagging along with me for like the events, like the show itself and whatnot. And yeah, it's pretty much how it went. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like that trip too was like I know like Miguel was doing his own thing too because he was with his girlfriend who's now his fiance, and I don't know. I feel like everyone was kind of doing their own things, but at the same time we're able to meet meet up or somehow like run into each other. Like I remember I ran into I think you and Miguel at the Daniel Bryan signing. I think I saw you guys like right before you guys went up.
Oh right, I remember that. Yeah. On the Sunday.
Yeah. So like, I think somehow we're all able to like run into each other. But I think since we're all, I don't know, with
Doing our own
someone.
thing.
Yeah, it's doing our own thing, I guess. I don't know. It's the way it planned out.
Oh, I love New Orleans, dude. You could be anywhere and you'll just run into people you know. Like it's just like fate.
Yeah, like I wasn't expecting to really run into anybody. I mean, I was trying to hang out, I was planning on hanging out with everyone at some point, but it just got to the point where I was just running into everyone. I'm like, I don't even got a plan to hang out because I just run into somebody, whether it's you guys or like running randomly into Griff or one of the Lorenzos, whoever it may be. It's like you're bound to just run in and be like, all right, well, let's hang out for a bit.
So at the
So yeah.
beginning of us doing this podcast, kind of wrapping up here, you mentioned that in the next like year or so, you're gonna like call it quits on YouTube, like you're gonna retire. So like, what's that entail? Like, are you just gonna stop making videos? Are you gonna like just make videos every now and again? Like, what's your plan for that?
Just to stop making videos. Like if I go on like a huge WrestleMania trip or something, like I might make a video like kind of recapping the trip and like showing like the merch mania or whatever the experience may be. So I might do that, but in terms of being like consistent and just producing any kind of videos, I'm just gonna put an end to that. And just like I said, if I go anywhere, like a huge trip and I want to make a
Yeah.
video recapping it, then I'll do something like that. But yeah, in terms of being consistent and doing videos on not a daily basis, but on a regular basis. That's
Hmm.
done for, I think.
Are you gonna like just are you dwindling down and like slowing down in wrestling or just like just a video? That's it.
I think honestly, it just comes down to just handling time, because like there's times where I sit there and be like, all right, I gotta watch this show because I gotta make a video on it. So I don't want to have that feeling constantly. And I feel like my life's changing. My priorities are changing, so I'm not really caring to watch wrestling as much. I mean, I'm keeping up with it and watching it still, but I don't want to feel like I have to spend a Sunday night, at home to watch a pay-per-view every,
Oh,
whatever it may be.
totally.
Hmm.
And I feel like I have to kind of do that still because I have it's part of that weird OCD for me because if I miss like say I miss like a pay-per-view review or whatever, even though I'm still continuously doing them, that's gonna drive me crazy for some reason because like it's that one I missed. Like I got every single one but that one. It's just a weird OCD tick in me that drives me crazy. So I feel like if I were to cut off that obligation to do that, then I wouldn't feel that way. But that's just a little that's just one of those things about me.
And then my last question here is, you buy any Funko Pops lately?
Oh, here we go.
Let me think. Not in stores because most stores here are just, or like usually where I go to like the get them like Box Lunch or Hot Topic,
Mhm.
all the like the malls and everything are still shut down here, so I can't really go anywhere to the shop. That's at least decent. Like the places I still can go are like Walmart, Target, but they aren't, they suck. But not really. I don't
You
know. I
still have
feel
the
like
wall.
oh
You still have
yeah,
the wall of Funkos. Like, has anyone ever like fallen? Like, I feel like that would be my worst fear is like one falls or
oh yeah, trust me. Like I feel like if the wall shakes, they're all gonna fall. But I don't think any of them have fall on their own. Like I might have like knocked one over like on my fault, but I don't think any have
Mhm.
just randomly fallen over. But no, I still enjoy them. I think I've become a lot more selective what I get because I
Yeah.
don't know. It gets to the point where you have a shitload and you're just like, what do I do?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what to do with mine, but like every time I would like watch one of your videos and I'm like, my God, like you got like a whole like you have a whole wall. It's crazy. So yeah, I understand that one for sure.
Oh yeah, trust me. One of the things that I constantly plan in my own head is how my man cave will look in like 20 years from now.
That's what I'm
It's
talking about.
what I think about when I see all my stuff in my room. I'm like, it's here for a reason. It's gonna look
Yeah.
really good one day.
All right. Well, Zach, thanks for coming on. It was good to catch up because it's been a minute. And
Yeah. Thanks a lot for having me on here. It only took about what 187 episodes for you guys to finally invite me, so I
hey,
finally
man.
appreciate that. I'm just giving you a
No, I
hard
know.
time.
I know.
No, I appreciate coming on though.
Listen, it's
It
Mike's
was fun.
fault. He does the booking.
Excuse you?
What was that?
Zach, I'm
Ex-
joking. I'm joking.
excuse you?
Hey, if it wasn't for if I didn't send Zach a little DM ski, he'd be waiting until 200.
That's true. He's right.
Wow.
I ain't gonna deny that. But no, yeah, it was fun. You ever wanna invite me back in like 6 months from now? Feel free to do so.
I'll
Dude,
probably ask you like next week. Don't worry about it.
we were saying we can probably do like a whole podcast on like figures and Funkos with you, like
Oh,
by
Absolutely.
itself. So well,
I can talk for hours about all that stuff, man.
that's
Especially
what I'm
considering
saying.
I've been listening to the Hawkins and Ryder's podcast a
Oh,
lot now, dude.
done,
Well,
Oh
done.
we'll have
man.
Zach on tomorrow because we're recording another one right now.
All right,
Bye.
well, see ya.